A solar eclipse. Now let's remember that the sun is the center, and this is the center of our solar system. And then we have the planets orbiting outside. And then we know that Earth also has a moon that orbits it. And we've been learning about the phases of the moon. We also know that as these things rotate, we have day and night. And the reason we have day and night is because one side is always facing, is getting lit up by the sun's rays, and one side is always, the other that's away from it is dark. And the same thing for the moon. Okay, so let's first thing that we need to know, and we notice here, if you were standing here on Earth, okay, which you are, you have it's a new moon. You would see that it is a new moon. Okay, so it's a solar eclipse happens when there is a new moon, when the sky is dark. Okay, now what I mean by sky is dark is that the moon is in the new moon phase. Okay, what happens, we know that eclipse means shadow, and so here the moon's shadow is on Earth. So the moon casts its shadow on Earth. And so this part of the Earth, as it rotates, it changes. So this, we know that this rotates, right, is getting affected by this moon shadow, by the moon's shadow. And that's, right, it's not the whole Earth isn't covered by a solar eclipse, but parts of it are. So it's small area. And that's what makes it kind of rare, because most of the Earth is covered in water and only a small area is affected. A small section of the Earth is affected, or a relatively small section of the Earth is affected by the shadow. That's why these solar eclipses are rare. And we had, last time we had one, a big one that we were able to see here in Washington was in 2017. So it happens in a new moon phase when the moon's shadow is on the Earth. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a lunar eclipse. So let's do a lunar eclipse. So here we go. We have a lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse. So a lunar eclipse is eclipse meaning shadow, lunar meaning having to do with the moon, so we can't see the moon when we can't see the moon. So we're going to have the sun, same suspects, the Earth. So lunar eclipse is when we can't see the moon. It involves the sun, the Earth, and the moon. And a lunar eclipse happens when it's a full moon. So is this a full moon? No. The reason why we know it's not is because the side that is facing the sun is bright, and the one that is not facing the sun is dark. So here we have our moon. Earth doesn't necessarily get closer. Okay, so here we have a lunar eclipse, and we have the sun, we have the Earth, and the moon. You can see that this is a full moon phase. And that kind of makes sense, because a lunar eclipse, you're expecting to see the moon and you don't. It's getting eclipsed. It's getting a shadow on it. So what would you have to be able to see the moon? Well, in a full moon. It wouldn't be a new moon. It's either a new moon or a full moon. It wouldn't be a new moon because you're not expected to see it. So let's just map this out. The side facing the sun is bright, and the side away is dark. That's just because only able to light travels in straight lines. It's only able to light up one side at a time. And here we have this one, the same thing with the moon. So the moon is orbiting the Earth, and the Earth is orbiting the sun. Okay, so now we have this shadow, and now the shadow is cast by the Earth. So the Earth's shadow is on the moon. So the Earth is much bigger, so it casts a big shadow over the moon. Maybe I'll take these guys off for a sec. I cast a shadow over the moon. And you can see all of the moon is covered. So even though you have partial lunar eclipses, they happen more often because this shadow is much bigger. So it happens, there's more of a range as it orbits that it can still get affected by it. So not as rare as solar eclipses. And that's because the Earth's shadow is bigger, so it covers more. It has a bigger shadow. Okay, so in a lunar eclipse, the sun, the Earth, and the moon, right? It's in the full moon phase. The Earth's shadow is on the moon, and it's not as rare as a solar eclipse because the Earth's shadow is bigger. Okay. Hopefully this helps you explain why lunar eclipses happen. Hope you have a great day.